Man, yesterday was one of those days where kind of got home.
Talk to me.
Was listening to the radio and thought, did we miss something? Did we? And I know what you're saying. Oh, you guys miss something all the time. Did we miss something with the Steve Kerr podcast with Draymond Green?
Wow.
And
you starting early, Steiny.
What he said about the Miami Heat. And was he really talking about the Golden State Warriors? And here's how I'm coming out. Because we played this yesterday, and I didn't think much of it because I didn't think there was a comparison to be made. And I'll tell you why on the other side. But Steve Kerr's talking about the Miami Heat, and how could you not listen to this and not think he was talking about the Warriors too? Take a listen.
None of those guys on Miami are sitting there saying, well, I didn't play, or man, they put in so and so. Like, they're just all about winning. And you know this from our groups that we've had. When you have that championship mentality, every guy's bought in, every guy's just trying to win. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. You don't go into the locker room, saying, well, I should have played more. You just want to win. And that's the beauty of finding that magic when you have a championship team, is that everybody's bought in, and it makes the decisions for the coach really simple. You just go with your gut and go with whoever's playing well.
What's he saying, Gil?
That he had guys on his team that were pouting and mad as hell about their individuality and them not playing. And that's why Steph had to give that damn speech talking about get on the bus or don't get on the bus. And you and I, we're different, Steiny. I'm black, you're white, but we are different because we look at things differently. And I'm going to tell you, when I, bring up the Miami Heat, I know you can go, hey, Goo, they're 24, they're 25, they're older, they're more mature. But I see clearly now, what I'm trying to get over to you is Moody, Kuminga, and Wiseman they had uniforms. I don't care how old they were. They were a part of this nucleus, and I don't think they were Andre Iguodala's to where you look at him and you say, how old are you, son? You can't go in the game. Because I've seen Kuminga have success. I've seen Moody. So I'm just flabbergasted that Kerr is going, Tupac hit him up, basically. Like, I'm telling you guys, we had dudes, young dudes, that weren't down for the cause, and I feel comfortable saying it and outing, and you can guess and decide who I'm speaking about. But what hurts me, before I give it to you, Steiny, is he didn't have that conversation with Kuminga or Poole, I don't believe, because you wouldn't have did it the way you did it to Draymond on that podcast. And now I have more questions about the Warriors culture and who's in, who's out than I ever have.
Excuse me. I think Steve Kerr acknowledged in a way that he's had that conversation with Kuminga time and time again over the course of the season. Kerr said, I talk to Jonathan all the time. Well, what he's saying, and I believe him.
All right.
Okay, so what I heard him say there is, man, I talked to Jonathan all year long and I couldn't get through to him. Couldn't get through to him. Couldn't get through to him. And then Jordan Poole, for whatever reason, gets lumped in. To me, let me just tell you where I'm at with Jordan Poole. To me, you don't win a title last year without Jordan Poole. So Jordan Poole is a young player, 23, and he helps the Golden State Warriors win a title, whether you like it or not. He helped them win a title way more than Wiseman, way more than Kuminga, way more than Moody. But he comes back last year, and I felt like it was almost like some of his teammates were like, well, you helped us last year, but now you're back to being Kuminga, just like Kuminga, just like Moody, just like Wiseman. And the reality of the situation is, to me, Jordan Poole earned way more than those other three guys. But for whatever reason, whether it was Kerr or the veterans, they just didn't give Poole the respect that Poole thought he deserved for helping him win a title. And so he comes back last year, and Jordan Poole's like, wait a minute, I'm not a rookie. Stop treating me like a rookie. Stop jerking me around with my roll, and then the punch happens, blah, blah, blah.
But that's a whole lot.
Season goes downhill from that point on. What I'm getting at is, so what are you going to do now? Are you going to trade? You trading Kuminga and Poole? Is that what you're doing?
I believe Jordan Poole wants out of here.
Okay.
I don't think.
What are you getting for Jordan Poole?
As much as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. That's Lacob's job. That's Dunleavy.
So you're
Jr.
trading Jordan Poole.
I'm okay.
You got 3 guys who are 33 or older, and you're going to trade your 23-year-old.
Listen to me. If you're telling me, Daryl the Guru Johnson, who I want is Jordan Poole over Draymond, my point, Steiny, is they can't coexist. And I'm reading the tea leaves. I see Draymond politicking. He's done a lot here. So some say, Goo, what are you talking about politicking? But there's no doubt he wants to be here to me. But him and Jordan Poole can't coexist. You already signed Poole. He's wrapped up. He gives you more offensively. And I'm waiting on a scenario, Steiny, to where any day it could be Kuminga Poole, because I don't think Dre's getting shopped. And I think you could get more for Jordan Poole in his future than Draymond Green with what he has left. But they can't coexist.
From the 408 Comcast Business Text line, Steve Kerr is a backstabbing head coach who's passive-aggressive. I'm out on his leadership. Voluntarily going on Draymond podcast is not a good move.
Steiny, he said a lot. He said we don't have guys like that. Guys that care about their minutes. And I love Coach Kerr. He's done a lot. But the one thing I'll put on his report card where it won't be a passing grade is getting the message across to these youngsters to where they don't buck up. But Steiny, why didn't I stop and smell the roses when Steph told his teammates, he was talking to some of them about not getting on the bus. And now Kerr comes out and lets it all out. And then he talked to Draymond about, when we had squads, when we had teams like that. I mean, if I'm Jordan Poole or Kuminga or Moody or whoever thinks they were being talked to by their coach, Steiny, that's some heat.
Are we missing rats on the table?
Brought to you by AtcoPestControl.com. Go to AtcoPestControl.com for all your pest control needs. Steiny, before you go, pest of the month, mosquitoes and rats.
All right. Scott Hastings. He's the color man for the Denver Nuggets. We had him on the other day, and here's what he said about the Warriors.
I've got the utmost respect for that entire organization, but it feels like they have turmoil for the first time in a decade in the organization, and that is something they have not dealt with in the last 8-10 years. And this is just an outsider, and you're about to lose your GM that's been praised up and down for helping orchestrate this thing.
Yep.
I just think there's a little turmoil going on, and I'm not sure. Can they or will they settle it before next season?
What kind of shape are the Warriors in? If you're a Golden State fan, from when the season stopped till now, do you think differently of the Warriors?
I do, because the things that I were hoping for that they weren't dealing with behind the scenes was not festering, and I found out mainly with Coach Kerr speaking his reality. Steiny, they got some major issues. They signed a guy that now can't get along with what was your heart and soul. Then I think about Jordan Poole and his parents, or Jordan Poole and his spouse, whoever, his brother. How can the Warriors look Jordan Poole in the face and say you're one of us and not do anything to Draymond Green? We've been asking this question for umpteen months. Just think about if I fired on Spadoni right now. That means I swung on him. And I came back here the next day and did the job, and there was no penalty. What message is that sending? And so there's no doubt. Maybe I got it wrong, Steiny. Maybe Jordan Poole wants to retire a Warrior. But something went on with that man inside his head with his production and his mentals that he shouldn't have had to deal with by himself.